Welcome back. So today I'm going to install a water recirculating pump on this water heater right here. So this boiler room is on the bottom floor of a 3-story building. So above us is a shop, and then above that is a 1-bedroom apartment. We live in Alaska, so the winters here get really, really cold. And last winter was the first winter that apartment up there was hit. My light just fell over. Should I keep going? I think this will make the cut. This is going to stay in, but let me get the light fixed. Okay, so got the light fixed. Anyways, last winter when it got really cold, the water lines on the 3rd floor would freeze. They wouldn't freeze between here and the top, just up at the top somewhere. So I was able to put heaters in that shop and heat it up really hot in there and able to thaw out the pipes. So what we're doing now is I'm going to put a water recirculating pump in there, and I'll show it to you now. The idea of this pump is to bring hot water to the furthest point in your plumbing. A lot of houses have their water heater, down on the basement or something like that, and a lot of times upstairs on the 2nd floor, you end up having to run the water for quite a while before it gets hot. This is supposed to solve that problem by, on a timer, circulating hot water utilizing the cold water line. So my hope this winter is that if I put this pump on and I have it rotating and pumping every half hour or so, then it's not going to allow that hot water line to freeze, because usually it only happened when it would sit overnight and nobody would run water. So I'm going to walk through how we do this today, and hopefully it helps you guys out in the future. And like I said, if you don't live in Alaska where it gets really cold, this is to help you get hot water faster to the furthest point in your system. All right, so in the box we have instructions. Those are always important. Shows us what's in the box. We have a pump. So this pump is a 115 volt pump right there. So you can plug it into a regular outlet. Practically, you're probably not supposed to put it into an extension cord, but that's probably what I'm going to have to do today since I don't have an outlet really close to the water heater. And then also we have a bag with fittings in it, and I believe all of these are going to be used up at the faucet. All right. Okay, so I've already shut off the water here at the water heater. This is the hot water. The cold water pressure has already been drained off. There's a shut off for that, but the pressure has already been drained off. So I'm going to open this hose right here, and hopefully there's not a whole lot of drainage. Like I said, the pressure has already been drained off, and this valve has been valved off. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping that there's not going to be a whole lot of water coming out of here. There might be a little bit. A lot harder to do one-handed. All right. Oh, yep, there's a little water. Not a lot though, that's good. Okay, the instructions say that this pump goes right on top of there, and then that hose is going to go back on there. I am going to shut the video off because I can't do this one-handed. Okay, so I've got the hose reconnected, got the water pump mounted on the water heater. Now I'm going to go upstairs and hook up the fittings over there before I plug anything in down here. All right, up here at the sink, this is the kitchen sink, and it is actually the furthest point away from that hot water heater. So this valve, or this fitting, goes between those 2 valves, and they give us hoses like these right here to make that connection. This side goes to this fitting, and this one is a 3/8 inch that goes to those valves. So we're going to disconnect these valves. This is the line that goes to the faucet. So these fittings here have to go on this fitting here. These are adapters to go from this hose line, which is 3/8, to here. And that's obviously not the right size. So they come with these adapters right here. So these are going to get threaded on here. They already have gaskets in them, so you don't need to put any thread sealant on them. Oh, nice and snug. Don't over tighten it because this is plastic. There we go. So now we're going to attach these hoses that they come with This is 3/8 on this side, which goes on here, and 1/2 inch on this side that goes to the fitting. There's also a rubber gasket in here. This is a compression fitting, so you don't have to put thread sealant on there either. And like I said, remember this is plastic, so don't cross thread it or over tighten it, because you'd have a little bit of a problem. I'm doing this all right out here right now because it'll be a lot easier to do than when I'm working around that drain line. Okay, so now that's all set up. So I'm going to take and start connecting these onto here. Again, they're compression fittings and they have gaskets in them. No need for thread sealant. And since these are on PEX, I'm going to use another pair of pliers to hold those valves in place so I'm not tweaking on things while I'm tightening this down. Adjust my wrench. Now I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to route this, because I don't want to kink those hoses, but I also have this P-trap to compete with. So these are the lines from the sink. Let's get those out of the way for a minute. I think I'm going to end up trying to put this just behind the P-trap. Yeah, like that. There we go. So I'm trying to figure out the best configuration of how to route this so that I'm not in the way of the P-trap or the valves, and I think this is going to be it. Put it just behind the P-trap. So in the instructions they show mounting this to the wall, but obviously we can't do that because these valves are so far off the wall and we have the waistline right there. Get that nice and snug. There we go. All right, now let's make sure all our other fittings are still tight. So now that we're going to connect, this is the hot water line. Most faucets will have the hot water side marked. And so when we took this off, it was off this side. So this is the hot water side. Cold water side. Let's see, I'll take it under here. There we go. All right, so I'm going to leave these valved off, and I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to turn on the water pressure and make sure I don't have any leaks down there before I come up here and turn these valves back on, and then we can check all these connections. All right, I've turned the pressure back onto the house. I'm going to let the hot water heater fill up. Make sure there's no leaks over here on these fittings. Don't see anything there. It's dry. Nothing up there, that's dry as well. All right, let me turn the hot water onto the house. That stabilizes. All right, good. So now I'm gonna run back upstairs and check for leaks there before I plug anything in over here. Back up here, I'm gonna turn this valve on, allow water going through that valve. No leaks there. Turn this one on. No leaks there. So now we have a whole bunch more connections, right? There's possible leak here, 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 and here, as well as these 4 places on this side. So there's actually, you go from having 2 points of possible leak to 8. So you want to make sure you check each one of these connections good, because you don't want to have any dripping in here. Especially the bottom of most cabinets nowadays are particle board. And when that gets wet, it deteriorates really fast. So definitely want to make sure we don't have any leaks before we move forward. Everything's good. Habit of mine, also, whenever I'm at a P-trap, I always check all these connections, even if I didn't touch them. Just make sure everything's still tight. Ooh, that one was a little loose. Now all of them actually could use a little bit of a snug. So that's good. Good that we checked. All right, all our fittings upstairs were good, and the fittings down here are still good, and everything's up to pressure. So now I'm going to focus on the timer. So these are 15-minute increments for 24 hours. And what you could do is set it to come on at, say, 6 a.m. when somebody's waking up and going to take a shower, so it circulates hot water to that furthest point. But living in Alaska, our power goes out quite often, probably twice a month, year round. So I don't want to have to come down here all the time and make sure that this is set at the right timer. And my goal with this pump is to make sure that hot water is circulating through the lines so we don't have freezing pipes like we did last winter when the water sits overnight or for a day or so. So I'm going to set it to come on every hour or so for 15 minutes. Each one of these tabbies, we flip up for the pump to come on and down is the pump off. I don't want to bore you guys with having to watch me do all of those, so I'm going to try a little movie magic. All right, so we've got it all done. Every hour it's going to come on for 15 minutes, and hopefully that solves my problem for this winter. All right, the last step is now to plug this pump in, and I just did that. It's with an extension cord because I don't have an outlet nearby, but this extension cord is plugged into a GFCI protected outlet, which is important whenever you're in a garage or dealing with water. That's to make sure nobody gets shocked. Now we wait and see if this winter we have any freeze-ups. Hopefully not. Keep your fingers crossed and say a couple prayers for me, would you? Have a wonderful day.